Yes, my name is Andrew Wilcox with Wilcox and Hackett. We are a legal recruiting and consulting firm in the Southeast, and I just wanted to spend a few minutes going through the interview process for law firm associates. What we want to go through is, what does a good opportunity look like all the way through to leaving your current firm and the considerations that you have to take in mind before you do such a thing. So what does a good opportunity look like? Everything to what is driving your openness to change. Is it that you're wanting to make a move to more of a challenge? Is it something that you're looking for better complementary areas of practice? Some of those type of things, but setting some money minimums up front. What would you be willing to take less to be able to make a good long-term career move? Setting some realistic expectations. You know what, and dealing with some unresolved issues. If there's something that is really just bothering you, is it easier for you to go in and have a conversation with the person or the managing partner or the partner that you're working with and really figure out, is this something that we can go ahead and just work through and save yourself the hassle of making a move? And then determining, is the timing right? Is the timing right to make a move now, or are you better off waiting for 6 months or a year, letting your career more develop and possibly even moving your way towards developing some business? Searching discreetly, just spending a couple seconds on this. Just assume that if you tell somebody in your firm that you're making a move or that you're looking to make a move, that's going to get all the way around the firm. Either two things happen. Either you become very paranoid or it gets back to somebody in your firm. So making sure that you just don't tell anybody in your current firm. Doing some research on the search firms. If you do want to work with somebody, try to limit how many search firms you actually work with. Avoiding things like the spray and pray tactic. Just getting your resume sent everywhere and hoping that it sticks. Typically when I run into somebody who said their resume sent out to 10 or 20 different firms, I don't even work with them. And the only thing it could do is hurt you to double up on sending your resume or having your resume come from more than one source. What documents you need to assemble. Just a couple things here. Just putting together a good resume that has a good description of all of the work that you've done. Don't just have, I do commercial litigation work, but really describe what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis. Some writing samples, 2 to 3 writing samples that are particularly good. If you're a corporate or transactional attorney, put together a deal list. Your law school transcript, and have some references. These others are a little bit more optional, but what I've seen very effective is putting together a folder for each person that you plan on meeting with. If you're going to meet with 4 people, I always suggest on putting together 6 or 7 of these that has the person's name, a cover letter, and has all of this information in there from your resume, your law school transcript, writing samples, and references. That way if somebody else comes into the meeting, which a lot of times happens, you're handing over a folder to them that just has everything. They don't have to scramble. It looks very professional as well. Alright, so looking at their website, doing some initial things for research, just spending a couple seconds on here. Read their website, also try to find out as much background as possible. Is there a lot of turnover with this firm? Can you read some blogs and findlaw.com, information.com? Asking a close circle of friends, is this a firm that treats their associates really well, or is this a firm that's family friendly? Trying to figure out too is examining, is this the factual basis for what their reputation is. If somebody left the firm 5 or 6 years ago, I don't know how relevant that information is. Also keep in mind there's always going to be a disgruntled employee that leaves a firm. So getting an idea of what it is specifically about that firm that that person doesn't like, and then keeping that in some sort of context. So at the first meeting, I always tell people it's an interview, it's not therapy. But be prepared to get down to business. You don't want to spend a lot of time talking about just a lot of fluffy stuff and pictures on the wall and hobbies and sports and all that kind of stuff. You really want to use this time to your best advantage. And I suggest that you separate yourself by the types of questions you ask. If you go in asking interview type of questions, you're going to sound like everybody else. If you go in asking good business level questions and really trying to find out what that firm considers success and how you could see yourself in that firm, it really works out a lot better. It helps you qualify them in or out as well. So just real briefly, putting together a cost versus investment type of questioning model. And if you want to pause this as you look through a questioning model on here, the business questions I'm talking about is how do they define success as a firm? What are their expectations and some of those type of things? And I talk to firms all the time that talk about cost versus investment. You want to find out how much it's costing them today to do it the way that they're doing it, with not having an associate in there that is handling this work. If there's not a cost, or if there's an urgent business need to them, then why are they filling this position? So you want to figure out, and here's just a simple questioning model, to be able to figure out, getting to the cost, how much is it costing them to send those files maybe to another firm, or those type of things. And then backing that up with a value. And as I said, you could pause this again and look at this, but figure out what value would they have by bringing somebody like yourself in. A couple things. The people that you're talking to are decision maker level. They're business people within the firm. They understand that there's a certain cost. There's a reason why they're wanting to bring somebody in. If you're talking to them and you're positioning yourself as the one who can help them achieve that goal or solve that problem, and how they could see the value in that. For instance, in this example, if they say they find $500,000 or $600,000 worth of business that they're sending to another firm because they just don't have somebody internally to do that, and they're talking about paying you a salary of $150 or whatever like that. Well, now they see the value of bringing somebody like you in. And keep in mind, the numbers that they give are their numbers, not yours. So really trying to figure out how many steps. For an associate, it could be a full day's worth of interviews that you start and you meet with 10 different people in a day. Usually firms will want to meet with you 3 or 4 times. Usually the first meeting to the start date is a minimum of 30 days, but you're looking at sometimes a couple of months going back and forth. That's why the first meeting is so important, just to qualify. And it could involve meeting in a lot of different places, etc. So understand, they have a process as to their interviewing, and you have a process that you, and only so much that time that you have to allocate. So filling in some gaps would really help, and figure out, are there conflicts that just are going to be a non-starter at the end of the day? Let's work through some of those things. Interview fatigue. You know what? When people meet with a bunch of different firms, they tend to have the same questions and they have the same answers. The fewer firms that you meet, the closer fit that it is to what it is that you're looking for, the better off you're going to be. You're really going to be able to put together some good questions, have some good answers, and you're really going to have the time and the effort to really be able to follow up with those firms as effectively as possible. And as I say, take meetings, the meetings very personal, or don't take them at all. So when you're looking at evaluating your options, here's just some things that you want to consider. Before you go into the process, putting together somewhat of a requirements list. Here's what I'm looking for. Big firm, small firm, boutique firm, I'm looking for a firm that does such and such, whatever. Create that list and then figure out which one closely matches, or most closely matches, what it is that you're looking for at the beginning. Have those requirements changed. And then some other things on here. Taking money out of it. And figuring out, is this a firm that you can be successful at? Is this one that will help you fulfill you and fulfill your family as well? Most of the time as associates, you end up having a slot that you go into, and that slot sometimes could be variable between $5,000 or $10,000. Sometimes it's a hard and fast number. But I always say negotiation happens throughout the process. It's not just an end on that. So the more value they see in using you or bringing you on as an associate with that firm, the more things that they may be willing to be flexible on. For instance, if you're a 7th-year attorney, a lot of times firms will want to bring you back down to a 4-year or 5-year attorney to fit into their partner of Q. But you know what? That may be something you could negotiate. You really want to be careful on how much stuff that you ask for, though, on the high end. If you're getting a good salary and you're in line with what it is that you feel like they're going to pay, really not nickel and diming the firm and trying to nibble them for this and that. You just don't want to put yourself in a position in 6 months where you feel like you're having to defend yourself for all those things that you asked for that may not have really been that. Leaving your current firm. I always say take the high road no matter what. You know what? I've seen people that have gone into interviews that have said, or have gone into to meet with the partners at their firms, and they've said, you know what? I thought this was going to go horrible, and it was a very cordial meeting. And I've also seen the opposite of that. So stay positive, point to future opportunities, but avoid the temptation of them throwing more money at you. There's really a reason why you're leaving, and if they're waiting until the last minute to have you leave before they extend you the type of compensation that you feel like you're entitled to, then you know what? That's probably another reason why you were to make a move. But also, keep in mind, try to maintain your relationships, put your clients' interests first, and avoid things like email blasts, saying goodbye to everybody and everything else. Those things usually degrade into other things, so avoid those type of things. So once again, my name is Andrew Wilcox with Wilcox and Hackett, and please, I hope this exercise has been very helpful for you. Please give me a call or send me an email if you have any questions or if you want to explore your career options.